Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this together. Awaken consciousness, go through the dark night, awaken wisdom, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light. Awaken consciousness, go through the dark night, awaken wisdom, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light. To will, I will, I will to will, I will, I will to will, I will, I will to will, I will. Awaken consciousness, go through the dark night, awaken wisdom, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light. Jai Ambe Ma, Saraswati Ma, Jai Ambe Ma, Lakshmi Ma. Awaken consciousness, go through the dark night, awaken wisdom, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light, receive the light.
Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jalen.
And he's Monte.
And we're all here in the eternal present.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What could be better than the eternal present?
Nothing. That's why we try to get to the eternal present.
Well, it's all we have, really. So,
but yeah,
probably. But that was a new sound from Shen.
Mm-hmm.
That it's pretty exciting. We got some electronica going on, and
yeah, I feel like I'll just share how I ended up playing the MIDI. I'm sure those of you who've heard Mindflow Radio before know that I generally play harmonium, but recently, I for those of you who know, I have a chronic shoulder injury, and I had 3 shows to do in a week, and I knew that I couldn't play the harmonium that many times in a row. So I convinced my son to give me the MIDI I gave him for Christmas years ago.
Yeah.
And he showed me how to use it, and here we are.
And here we are with a new sound.
Yeah, it's
Talk
really
about
cool.
Making, lemonade out of lemons.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so it frees me up. It's not as hard on my body, and it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot we can do with it, and a lot we will be doing with it.
Yeah.
Throughout time, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we thought we'd share a little bit about that song. It was a very magical song. It came to me when we were at a very beautiful place in Florida.
Yeah.
Where Monte used to go when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, and the song came to me, and we recorded it on the phone. Thank goodness for technology.
Yeah.
And we developed it.
Yeah, that's where we went to visit where my grandparents lived. And I've wondered if their energy didn't have something to do with the song.
Yeah,
really.
maybe.
Maybe they supported us somehow.
Possibly. Yeah.
In the spirit world, perhaps.
So the song is about the path to the mother, or the path of the mother.
Yeah.
And it's about the Sri Yantra. And my teacher who taught me this, I apologize, I cannot remember his name at the moment. That's sad. Many apologies, dear teacher. You were awesome. He taught the story behind Sri Yantra. And the Sri Yantra is a visual mantra about the mother and how we transcend this path of mortality on the spiritual path. So we get to the levels of consciousness and we meet Durga, who teaches us how to awaken our confidence and our knowing and our intuition and our ability to perceive the guidance and insights that we're given.
And I should say Durga is a super tough female goddess,
Yeah.
Hindu goddess with a sword, and she rides a tiger. And
She's got like eight weapons.
yeah, don't mess with
Or
Durga,
6 weapons and a peace sign. Yeah, so she's the protectress. She protects those who seek her protection. And then once we graduate Durga, we move on to Saraswati. And there's a little piece in here about Kali, who is derived from Durga. She, in the myth, pulls Kali from her brow for a very important battle that Kali's special gifts would give her the ability to win. And so Kali represents, in my opinion, the dark night. So go through the dark night with Kali. She will show you all your shadows. That's got to go. She'll show you all the skeletons in the closet. She'll show you your dark side that needs to be brought into the light and dried up and composted. So then you get through Kali, the dark night, and you go to Saraswati. And Saraswati, she is the goddess of knowledge and wisdom. So she brings forth your mental capacities to embrace all of the things that are needed to succeed in your life.
So to get to this place of knowledge, we need to get through our own dark side. Mm-hmm. The way I see it from a psychological perspective is we need to really identify our unproductive patterns of thinking and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Yeah. And then Kali helps us see all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can choose to take it on, or we can run away from it, and then we're stuck.
Bury it and blame others.
Yes, bury it and blame others. But if we have the courage and the know-how, we take it on, and then we move to the next level, which is
Saraswati,
the
goddess of wisdom and music. She
really,
presides over those who are artistic.
Yeah.
And then we graduate Saraswati and go to the level of Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is the abundance and basically the reaping of what you have sown with the mother. So it's Lakshmi is kind of this karmic goodness when properly received, right, or properly offered. I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but
when we're creating good karma for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. The consequences are good when we've done good things. And the spiritual path is all about, letting go of the ego and embracing the soul and the spirit. And so, but the key here is when we get to the level of Lakshmi, it's very important to not get lost, because this is where you go back to square one, because the ego comes in and you're like, I'm so awesome. Look at all these people listening to me. They all love my music, blah, 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 blah.
Look at all the stuff I have.
Yeah, I'm so rich. I hope
Check
nobody
out my
gets
clothes.
it. Oh no. What if somebody's trying to get it from me? Oh no. And then back to square one you go.
Okay.
Or, as we have seen through our human world, when people make it to great leadership roles, some things can happen where they lose integrity and lose their moral trajectory.
All right. I mean, people can become egomaniacs, essentially.
Yeah.
If their society is telling them,
You're
they're
so
doing
awesome.
a great job. Yeah, right.
We should all be like you.
And I don't think we need to kill the ego, but we just need to keep it in its place.
Yeah, it has a job to do.
Yeah, it does. It does have a job to do, and it's just not supposed to it's not supposed to be the CEO, the boss of our lives.
No.
But to really work with the ego, we have to have the ability to get into the subconscious, actually, and reprogram some of our beliefs and
Yep. And that's
our
kind of
habits.
I feel like in that sense of this mantra, that is implied in the sense of you need to have the assistance of all of these aspects of the divine so that you can reveal the subconscious pattern and let Kali do her thing with it. And because if you don't deal with those, you can't get to Lakshmi and make it through. So the tip of the Sri Yantra, or the very center, is the transcendence. It's when you've transcended this human path.
Okay.
So
that's the pinnacle.
Yeah. But the trigger is the top teacher is happy to send you back to square one. It's like that game is sorry.
Well, some of it too, if you look at the way I see it, is if we can remain humble.
Right.
Then that keeps the ego in check.
Yeah.
And then we don't have that need to be right all the time, because that's the ego tripping right there.
And I have to say that my absolute favorite definition of humility is from Teresa of Avila. I've said this so many times on the show because it means so much to me. It changed my life when I heard this definition. And it is, humility is being satisfied in the moment. And that means that we don't want it any other way.
Well, and we accept
no matter what
the
it is.
perfection, perhaps, the imperfect perfection of the moment.
Right.
And then we're humble.
Yeah. And it's possible to have a dream of something else and be humble.
Oh, yeah.
And be satisfied in this moment. And how many times have we heard in our modern world how to manifest, right? And the big thing is satisfaction. And that means that we're humble. We're not trying to change anybody. We're working on ourselves. We're okay with what is. We have this idea of this beauty that could be if we just be okay with this moment. Yeah. So there's like an idea of a trajectory, but there's this calm of one foot in front of the other, and I'm right here right now, and I'm on this step. And I'm on this step. Yeah. And I'm on this step.
It makes me feel like that one of the highest states of consciousness that we need to maintain is just feeling content.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's that place, right? Of contentedness. I'm okay with this moment. I'm content. And not that we can always be there, but I think contentedness is very, very underrated in our culture. We're trained to feel like, no, we need to be in bliss and thrill land and everything's fun and woo, and then we've won. But that's not true.
No.
If we can just be in that place of contentedness as much as possible, then we're doing all right.
I just had this memory of the first time I heard about what enlightenment feels like, and I was like, I don't want that. Because it was all about contentedness and like not being excited, not being depressed, just like being in this complete state of neutrality and love and acceptance of everything. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound very good. I was not interested.
Yeah. Right. I know it's interesting. I mean, we've had a lot of programming training us to believe, oh, you really can't be happy unless you have that really fancy car or whatever. And that's not being content. So we've had all this programming of like craving. You need to crave. You need to crave this food and this look and these people. And you want to be cool. And you want to be cooler than you are. So you need to buy a new gold chain or whatever. But if we can just sink into our contentedness, then it's all right. And then we're making progress on the path.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we wanted to touch on the subconscious. And that goes with the contentedness or the lack of, And if we have the ability to be content and satisfied in this moment, and something bubbles up.
Yeah.
And it instantly sends a pang of anger or a pang of sadness or fear.
Yeah.
That's the reveal of a subconscious pattern, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the subconscious stores our memories and our beliefs. And yeah, if I'm sitting in a place of contentedness and then I have some difficult memory that bubbles up into my conscious mind from my subconscious mind, yeah, it's moving from the subconscious into the conscious. But at that point, the question is, what do we do with it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
What do we do with it? I mean, if it's really a traumatic memory, ultimately, we would like to accept it, embrace it, and release it. Mm-hmm. Release it to the higher power. Release it to the supraconscious. Mm-hmm. So there's actually 3 levels of consciousness: the subconscious, the conscious, which is just our present moment awareness, and then the supraconscious, which is the Tao, or the higher power. And but learning to go from that content state to an agitated state, but then back to the content state.
Yeah.
Essentially, and not, because it's easy for me personally, if I'm content and then I have some difficult memory bubbling up into my consciousness, I can get like all wound up and I can like ruminate on it. Mm-hmm. But the idea is...
Get lost in it.
Yeah. If I notice it, if I use my metacognition, which is noticing my thoughts from a discerning perspective, then I'll be like, oh, that old thought pattern has emerged. Mm-hmm. And does it really benefit me to ruminate on it for 2 hours? If the answer is no, then I employ a mindfulness skill to either release that difficult thought to the supraconscious or just let it settle back into the subconscious. Mm-hmm. And it's that's the process of reprogramming, essentially.
Okay, well that's
I mean,
cool
that's
that you say.
One way to reprogram.
I think that's interesting that you said that you can let it go back to the subconscious. And you said it in a non-emotional, non-judgmental way. And I thought that was really cool because the goal is that you release it and you have space to rewire. But, it doesn't always go like that. Yeah. So
maybe you can just package it up all pretty and nice and put it back into the subconscious in long-term storage.
Yeah, okay.
It's like where you don't have to deal with it. It's just, but it's organized.
Yeah.
You want to maybe organize it a bit and package it up and then set it back down. I mean, we need to realize that the subconscious is the majority of our mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where everything is stored, and that's where the beliefs just keep chugging along.
Yeah, what I understand is that's the stuff that really interrupts any kind of manifestation that you're working on. If you've got this subconscious belief that there's no way that you can do this, then it won't happen. It doesn't matter how much meditation you do or how much affirmations you do. If this belief does not get, lack of a better word, composted and released, then it's just there kind of mucking up your wires. And
it is. And that's the challenge, really, because it's not easy. I mean, that's a thing we can consciously realize, I need to have better self-esteem. That's on my conscious mind, I can say that, but in the subconscious, if there's these programs running, like you said, where I don't deserve any better, and things always end up
bad.
They never work out for me. That's another one. Or, one way we can check and notice what's going on in our subconscious as far as our selves are concerned is just notice when you make a mistake. Notice the self-talk that bubbles up from the subconscious. And that's the beautiful thing about self-talk is it really reveals us to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And if I'm beating myself up with my self-talk, it's like, oh, okay, so this is a deep-seated belief that I deserve to beat myself up right now. But that's why self-forgiveness is so important it just self-forgiveness in itself helps to begin to reprogram that subconscious belief system. Because I noticed for myself, I used to be super hard on myself every time I made a mistake. And I still have that tendency. Like, how could you make that mistake? What are you thinking? How, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like beating myself up. But that doesn't do any good because then it's just like I beat myself up and then the belief doesn't shift.
Right.
Right. But now I go into this place of I call it the self-forgiveness protocol. And step number 1 is I say to myself, humans make mistakes. Number 2, I'm a human. Number 3, I'm going to do everything I can to learn from that mistake. Number 4, I forgive myself. And that's the protocol I go through when I notice that I'm hammering myself because I've made a mistake. And in doing so, ideally, I'm beginning to reprogram that subconscious belief system. But it takes repetition, it takes awareness, it takes a discerning type of metacognition where you're watching your thoughts, but you're not judging them. You're not judging yourself as being stupid or unproductive or whatever. You're just noticing, you're being discerning. And actually, when I do have negative self-talk, that actually is unproductive. So I take it back. I discerningly notice, and I can label that thought as unproductive.
Right.
And then from that place, I'm able to figure out what to do with it.
Nice.
And if I'm beating myself up, I go into the self-forgiveness protocol, for example. It's one technique.
Awesome. So I just want to give some announcements before we go on to our next song. Locally, we have a satsang coming up August 14th. And Monte has a Tai Chi class that gets together on Saturdays at the Commons.
Yeah, well, we both have that.
Right, that's true. I do sub.
Noon
on Saturdays, and satsang is 11 a.m. once a month. So the next one's August 14th, and Monte's been leading a free recovery group, a mindful. Do you want to say something about it?
Well, it's mindfulness recovery. And we can all we're all recovering from something or another.
Absolutely.
But, addiction's a big one, but we can just be addicted to like
sadness.
Yeah. Or arrogance or whatever, addicted
phones.
to,
Food.
Addicted to phones. That's a good one. Or addicted to whatever substance is out there. But we have a group every Monday at 1:00 at Cooley Recovery in La Crosse, and it's free. And it's basically for anybody who is interested in improving the functioning of their minds. So we learn a bunch of techniques, how to get into that subconscious, how to reprogram, how to, we work on a bunch of different mindfulness or meditative techniques, from power breathing to mantra to movement, Tai Chi stuff.
Yeah, so that's some ways you can work with these concepts a little deeper. Yeah. And online, you can find us so many places. If you've found this podcast, then you know that we're wherever you are. We also do some stuff on Insight Timer, and that's a free app that I teach or I guide Monday, Wednesday, and Friday a meditation at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So if you would like to meditate with me and all those who gather with us, please join. And Monte does.
And you'll have to look up the Heart Mind Center.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Insight Timer.
The Heart Mind Center.
Yeah.
Heart Mind Center on Insight Timer. The Heart Mind Center on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Oh, we're not active on Twitter, but we are there.
Okay.
TikTok. I mean, seriously, y'all, we try so hard to make this work available to everyone.
Yeah, because we believe in it.
Yeah.
We've seen it, how it helps ourselves and our individual clients.
Yep.
And we're about just spreading the word.
Yeah. So, Monty, do you want to just say like a brief?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who am I?
In this lifetime.
In this lifetime. Okay. Well, I'm a seeking person. I've trained a lot in Tai Chi and meditation and yoga and chanting and music. And I like sharing what I've learned. I'm also a licensed psychotherapist, and I work with mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and just basically helping people to hone the functioning of their minds through a variety of techniques, and reformulating, helping people to reformulate their mind gardens. Mm-hmm. And it's rewarding work, and I guess that's the one way to describe myself.
Yeah, and musician.
Yeah.
And I'm a mindful yoga coach. So I do life coaching in the realm of yoga, which is so much. It's eating, it's health, it's interacting with others, it's meditation techniques, all different kinds of skills, and some movement. But the movement is like a very small portion of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, yoga is a lifestyle.
Yeah, that's what I'm alluding to.
Yeah. So
anything under the mindful living umbrella is what I play with others, and it's really fun. We have watched clients bloom, and it's been very rewarding. So thank you to all those who have already worked with us.
Yeah, and we've also just trained a lot with ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Path of the Mother song came because I've been working with Dorga for 3 years every day. So I think that was a little gift from her to us, because I'm able to make myself do my practices every day. Awesome. So thank you. Mm-hmm. We're going to play another one for you and finish up our discussion on the subconscious after that. So just a moment. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo.
Yeah.
Yes, folks. I think that this is my last. What did you just say? Home stretch of Hare Krishna. I've been doing Hare Krishna every day for 60 days now.
Nice job.
No, it must be more than that. Because it's 120 days September 1st.
Okay.
So that would be 90 days. Oh, cool. I'm at 90 days, y'all.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
90 days, 90 consecutive days of saying the mantra.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Have you done it with me?
I've done it probably 2/3 of those 90
Okay,
days.
cool.
Yeah. So I have done a lot of it, but I haven't been real consistent.
Yeah, that's okay. You're real consistent with your morning practice.
Yeah, that's right.
Unlike me.
I do not miss Tai Chi in the morning.
That's awesome.
Pretty
Someday
much
I'll be able to say that, maybe.
Well, I do everything I can not to miss it. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I
It's easy,
seriously
too,
don't think
'cause
you've
it's the
missed.
First thing I do it first thing,
Mm-hmm.
so it's easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
My mind, no matter where I'm at, when I wake up, I'm like, oh, gotta do Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only 5 minutes movement. It's not some huge thing.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great way to get started. For me, usually I just feel a little better after doing Tai Chi.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree when I
physically,
do it.
mentally, the whole thing.
Yeah, so Hare Krishna. I know we've been working with it a lot this summer, but it's a beautiful practice.
It is. And that song we did, I should mention, it is in a 5/4 time signature. Our version of Hare Krishna is in a 5, which is it's really unusual, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't heard another Hare Krishna in 5, but I love it.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I love that drum. I drum that a lot just as a practice. That drum beat.
Yeah, and it's very much called the Maha Mantra, the great mantra. It's one of the most used mantras in India, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I saw a statistic that said 60% of the Vishnu following bhaktis, or I forget. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. So
it may be the most popular mantra in the world.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people in India.
You know, so that's one way of thinking about it. When I chant it, it's on some level, perhaps I'm hooking in energetically with a bunch of other people who are chanting this.
Agreed.
All around the world. And for me, it's a great way to, I talked earlier about reprogramming the subconscious, just repetition. And through repetition, we can do that, and through chanting, and I think through chanting Hare Krishna over and over again, the conscious mind really settles down. The conscious mind, instead of being all wavy, you want to imagine the mind is like a lake, and the conscious mind is just the surface of the lake. And if my lake is all wavy, if I chant Hare Krishna for 10 minutes or something, the surface of the lake calms down. And in calming the surface of the lake down, the supraconscious, which you can see as the sun over the lake, is able to, the sun rays are able to penetrate through the conscious mind and into the subconscious. So just by calming our conscious mind down, I think we're working on reprogramming the subconscious mind. We're working on beautifying the subconscious, because it allows the supraconscious to shine its light inside of our subconscious. So that's one technique that I use to beautify the subconscious mind.
Hare Krishna?
Yeah.
Or chanting in general?
Yeah, well, chanting for me is usually Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I know I feel that if I were to claim any specific way that has really made my life very, very different, I would have to say that Bhakti Yoga has pretty much helped me to become a sane and healthy person.
And Bhakti means?
Bhakti is devotional practice, and that usually is carried out by chanting japa, repetition on a mala.
Okay.
And I've been doing this for 20 years now.
Yeah.
I think maybe a couple years less. But it really, when you've been through a lot of trauma, the mind is just seeking things to worry about. And am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? It's just this constant thing going on in the mind. And with Bhakti, kind of what you're saying is the trauma mind or traumatized mind is that choppy lake.
Yeah. And
when you do the mantra, it's like making the sun come out and the wind be still. And it is so helpful. Like, I was thinking about this. It's not stillness because you're chanting. Yeah. So there's words going in your head, and yet it's focused, and you're not thinking but your mind is doing something. So you're holding it to a focus. And so it's not necessarily stillness or I wouldn't even call it presence, but you're focused rather than is that branch going to fall, and what if a car hits me, and I think there might be a dog loose, I'm sure I'm going to get attacked, and what
do they think of me?
Right.
Whatever.
Right. Oh, there's some people, oh no, what if they think that I'm ugly? What if they think that, whatever. I'm just I'm attempting to speak out loud how it used to be in my brain. But I would say that that's changed most of the time, and every once in a while it comes back.
Yeah. And the bhakti, the chanting, the singing has done a lot to help you, to help me. What I've noticed is when I chant Hare Krishna, it's a lightheartedness that kind of comes over me. So and you think of it, when you are chanting, you are vibrating. Your voice is vibrating. And so you are creating like an energetic, it's an energetic type of spiritual practice.
What about when you're chanting in your mind?
That's a good question.
Do you think there's still a vibration? I
Probably.
think so.
Well, I think consciousness creates vibration.
Yeah, I think so too.
No matter what, we're creating vibrations. And the whole question is what kind of vibration am I sending out into the world? If I'm chanting Hare Krishna in my mind, most likely my vibration is going to be pretty peaceful and lighthearted. But if I'm thinking about politics, most likely my vibration is going to be agitated and angry, and I'm going to send that out into the world through my consciousness. There's no hiding it. And I think there's going to be a marriage between psychology and physics when they can prove that consciousness creates strings of energy. I mean, they don't have a sensitive enough equipment now to actually see strings of energy yet, but they'll probably manage to get there eventually. But for now, if we realize that our consciousness is sending out strings of energy, at least for me, that's motivating to not be sending out like warring energy or poor me energy or I hate them type of energy, and
what you're saying, it just reminds me of something that I really felt is important to share, as I am really embracing astrology as a tool recently and studying it deeply. So most the people who study the stars know that August is a really intense month, and it's kind of a don't plan beyond August because you don't know what's going to happen next. And that's kind of a scary energy. It can be fearful to sit in that uncertainty. What's going to happen? I have no idea, So one thing I really wanted to share this month is how important and crucial it is to take time to center, to really recognize and notice where you're at. How are you feeling? Are you lost in the old subconscious pattern? Is it running you? Or are you on top of it and you're being mindful and aware of the wind blowing in your hair and the color of the flowers or the grass or the bugs flying in the air, and just non-judgmentally looking around you and saying, okay, this is where I am here now.
Acceptance. Getting back to that contentment piece. Because
in my feeling, and I do understand that because I'm studying this so intensely and really following a lot of astrologers right now, I think that I very much could be feeling my interpretation of what I'm learning. And it's not as chaotic as it feels to me because I am so aware of it and studying it and focusing on it. So I do understand that I could be full of stuff. And yet, to me, I keep on getting grabbed by a feeling of chaos, a feeling of uncertainty. The last couple weeks, and I know this is going to continue for another few weeks, so almost to the end of August. So all I can do for myself is try to come back to center, okay, have I done my chanting? Have I done any breathing today? Am I breathing right now? Am I holding my breath? Whoa, I'm holding my breath. Am I gritting my teeth? Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gritting my teeth. Relax my jaw.
Yeah.
So if possible, if you can, let yourself unplug in every way from that collective consciousness and find your individual self. That's my hope for everyone this month.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to get swept away by the unconscious, like chaos or the fear. Because there's a lot of fear mongering out there.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've been immersed in it for a solid 2 years, something like that,
Yeah.
So it takes so much, what do you call it? Metacognition. It takes a lot of metacognition to even recognize. It's kind of like an addiction. You can't start changing that addiction until you recognize it. And it's like we're addicted to fear and anger right now as a people. And we have to unplug from that and say, okay, what is neutrality? What is contentment?
Yeah.
What is presence? What is this presence thing that people talk about?
Yeah, right. How does it feel to have a clear mind? That's an interesting question. And really, if we're going to be able to get into the flow of any situation, we need that clarity.
Absolutely.
And the fear and the agitation and all that will always hold us back. Always hold us back, or usually hold us back.
Yeah, always and never. Watch out for those words.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, I feel like, and just a shout out, if you are doing a spiritual practice, in my opinion, what I've noticed with myself and others is that when you have that spiritual practice, you become more resilient.
Oh, yeah.
You become more capable of perceiving when you get mixed up in something, or you can sense that energy mush when somebody, you've taken on someone else's energy, or you've gotten mixed up in a world fear. It's more possible to separate yourself from that and have that metacognition when it's a part of your daily practice. So good job, everybody.
Yeah. Well, and having that daily practice, it leads to feeling empowered, essentially. Because then when we notice when we're being swept away, when our minds are being swept away by something that is not productive for us. And we have the ability through metacognition to notice that, and then we have the ability through some spiritual practice to come back to balance. That's really resilience. That's what we're talking about here.
I do want to say that for someone, or if you talk to someone who's religious, or if you're religious, this is a supplement to whatever faith you have. To have metacognition, to choose to do a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that spiritual practice would be in accordance to the faith that you've chosen. But it's supporting that growth for everyone, no matter what faith we have to embrace all with faith. And because in embracing all with faith, whatever their faith is, we're supporting the vibration of faith. And we really need that right now. We need to trust that what is happening in our world is meant to be. It's part of the plan. We have our free will. We are individuals, and yet there is a master plan in motion. And I mean, isn't that what faith is about? Really, like it's
Well, and just realizing, the way Mike Tyson puts it is birth is death and death is birth. So there's a faith thing for you right there.
Yeah, totally.
We're born into this world. We're actually dying from the spirit world. And then when we die from this world, we're being reborn into the spirit world. I mean, that's one way to frame like a spiritual perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
And I believe it. And from that perspective, if we can take that on, everything is a little lighter. Then we don't get so caught up in what people are saying, or so caught up in things that are not going exactly like we want them to. Yeah,
and that actually really brings up this feeling I've had recently of if this is all as it should be, and we're at this precipice of birth for our cultures and growth and evolution, and we're about to make this jump of consciousness,
quantum
leap, totally. And I have to just, it makes me feel peaceful to think that everything that has happened is actually okay, and everyone who's lost in chaos, they're actually okay. And all of this, when we go through something horrible, it's actually okay, even though it sucks. But in the scheme of our soul, we're doing what we're here to do. And
all we can do is try our best.
Right. And that whatever we're growing from and learning from and evolving from and leaving behind and growing out of and graduating helps us. So when we're free of this world, free of this body, be in a better place. So even though it sucks now, and I know that's like a Christian belief too, is like this world sucks, but then we go to heaven, and I guess I'm saying that too for somebody who's got like chronic illness or just absolute horrible abusive scenario or just fell into addiction and life absolutely sucks and lost the kids and the family and all that, living on the streets. I mean, there's some horrible things that people experience. And the only way that I can make peace of it is to think that they're doing what they need to do so that their soul can take the next step in their own soul's growth.
We have the free will to mess things up. I mean, it's not just like but according to Buddha and the Lotus Sutra, each of us will eventually become awake. And it might take somebody 100 lifetimes. It might be this lifetime.
And I love that note, and we should leave it on there because I know that.
Yeah, I love that too. I mean, if we really believe that, then there's really nothing to worry about.
Right.
Because we're all going to get there. We're all destined to be enlightened eventually.
Yeah.
And
so let's start right now.
Yeah, let's just move in that direction, see what it's like.
Yeah.
Because it's an adventure then.
Yeah.
Because things will change.
Absolutely.
If we change how our minds are functioning, our behaviors change, our environment will change.
Yeah.
It's a quest of seeing
growth.
What's out there, seeing how powerful we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are all powerful manifestors.
Oh, yeah.
All of us.
And I just have to say this because it just popped in my head and it needs to be said. But one of the things that I've learned recently is that there is duality and non-duality at the same time. And that is the ultimate polarity, is that both of them exist and both are real, and they're both happening right now in this moment. And that goes along with the idea of we will all be enlightened eventually, especially when we realize that it's not about this or that, but it's about this and that, and embracing everyone's perspective, because everyone has that truth in them.
Oh yeah, we each have the spark of the universe within us, the spark of the Tao, the spark of God within us.
And that's how we find harmony. Is seeing that in
everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. For sure.
Exactly.
And also knowing that we're all sort of confused on some level.
Yes.
I mean, so that you can let go of your arrogance, because we're all confused, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because arrogance is a big problem.
Yeah.
In developing.
Yeah.
That'll get us, that's like the egomaniac, right?
Yep. But we'll leave it on the note of we'll all be enlightened eventually.
Yeah.
And we're going to embrace it all.
Yeah. And let's just keep moving in that direction. And part of the path is we learn to be kinder to ourselves to begin with. We begin to learn to forgive ourselves. And then we also learn to be kinder with others.
Yeah. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of this Mindflow discussion and musical meditations. It's been lovely to share time with you. And we'll be back again next month. Have a lovely August. Be well. Enjoy the sunshine.